Virginia smoke. OVS, Old Virginia smoke. OVS, Old Virginia smoke. OVS, Old Virginia smoke. Old Virginia.
My name is Luke Darnell, Pitmaster of Old Virginia Smoke Barbecue, and I'm here to tell you about my new online class available at barbecuechamps.com. This is a 100% tell-all competition barbecue class from yours truly, available online. It is a masterclass with 34 high-definition tell-all online competition barbecue videos that can be watched anytime, and they do not expire. They are packed full of pro tips, techniques, and recipes that will show you how to take your barbecue to the next level. These 34 barbecue cooking videos total 7 hours and will show you everything that you need to take your competition cooking to a level that you never thought was possible. We've already heard from several teams that have bought our classes and have already seen success and gotten their first calls. So this is something that brings me a lot of joy in sharing my knowledge and seeing people be successful with it. So are you ready to take your competition and backyard cooking to the next level? What are you waiting for? Just go ahead and go to barbecuechamps.com and find Luke Darnell, Old Virginia Smoke. We hope you learn a lot and enjoy these videos and have as much fun cooking these recipes as we had making them. This podcast is brought to you by barbecuedata.com. Barbecuedata.com is your one-stop shop for all of your barbecue competition data. If you're looking for historical data, calls, wins, and have the ability to track your progress in every meet, Barbecue Data has everything under one roof. It's a great way not only to track yourself in the standings, but also to track how you improve your scores from year to year. This week, I've actually taken a step further, and we're able to see what recipes were working in the past 3 years. Pretty cool when you have access to that kind of data. Listeners of this podcast can receive 20% off of a new subscription to barbecuedata.com with the code PITPOD, all capital letters PITPOD, one word. Use data to score better. Track your competition barbecue progress on barbecuedata.com. What's up, everybody? It's Luke Darnell, your host of Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. Hope everyone's doing well out there in barbecue land. And, you know, we have a lot of excitement going right now around the Barbecue World Cup, but we also have some events that are tied to that are exciting in their own right. So it's a great pleasure of mine today to have Jeremy Garrett from the Campground Barbecue Series here. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, Luke, thank you so much. And speaking of, I just saw the news drop about Pennsylvania just added a Grand Cup qualifier.
Yeah.
World Cup qualifier.
World Cup qualifier to Smoke on the Rails, and pretty exciting to have some of these things here on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And we're going to have one up in New York this May as well.
That's right. Yeah. So I work with the Grand Am. This will be our second year for the Grand American Barbecue World Championship. We are super excited about everything about it. We've got a new location, some new dates. Last year, the event went off without a hitch. And it was really cool to see a lot of teams from throughout the U.S. who normally would never come up, to the East Coast and especially to the Northeast, New England area, to see them come and just dominate. I mean, Darren Worth came in and, the GOAT proved himself again, and just, took day one. And then Brad Leininger with Getting Basted came in day two and took that. So it was awesome to see. It really was. And got to meet a lot of really cool folks that I'd never met before.
Yeah. And, I'll go ahead and eat a little bit of crow here and say that I was not, I didn't know about that contest in the first year. And by all reports, it was amazing. And I am cooking it this year.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited.
Yeah. Yeah. So the new dates this year are May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And we're moving to a location that a lot of, especially folks in the Northeast, know very well. It's New Paltz. And they had the Hudson Valley Rib Fest there for 15, 16 years. And then, when COVID hit, just like many other festivals, it just kind of disappeared. So that community is bending over backwards, welcoming us back into the community with a large barbecue festival. It's been eye-opening and so refreshing as an organizer to have that kind of support.
It's well, yeah, you stole kind of my thunder there, because I was going to mention that this is in terms of East Coast venues, this is a pretty historic one. And it's in a very, very cool part of the country up in New Paltz, and there's lots of cool things to do. The Culinary Institute of America is nearby.
Yep.
I remember, because we did cook there one year. Then it was the week after they had a livestock festival there.
Yep.
And the giveaways that they gave you were 2 fly swatters. And when we checked in, we were like, we're sitting there holding these fly swatters, and I meant to grab one out of the trailer today and have it here, because we still have both of them. We still keep both of them in the trailer. And gosh, that was 9-10 years ago.
Yeah. And
those are still in the trailer, and we still tell that story. But honestly, it was one of our favorite road trips of that year. And so we're super excited to be coming back. And what facilitated that venue move?
So it was a couple of things. The venue that we used last August. So we also switched dates as well. So last August, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, we were in Port Jervis, New York. And Port Jervis it's right on the border with Pennsylvania. It's about it's probably a good 2 hours away from Newark, from Albany, from Wilkes-Barre. And I think that was the biggest issue. The contest went off without a hitch. Everyone, we had some electrical things that we got fixed real quick. Awards went quickly. Judging went perfectly. Lots of people did really well. But the only issue was we didn't have a lot of public attendees there. And so we sort of need the public festival and the contest. They kind of support each other. They have to go hand in hand. So we basically, spoke with our partners, our radio friends, our sponsors, some of the other service providers. And, we just kind of did you do a debrief on all of this kind of stuff. And, what they kind of said was, the field was great. The location was great. It was a beautiful location, but you need to be in a higher traffic zone. And they basically said, from Albany to Newark along Interstate 87 is where you ideally need to be, because you're catching people from everywhere with that. And, I said, all right, where do you think we should go? And to a T, every single person said, go to the Ulster County Fairgrounds in New Paltz. Every single one. There are other fairgrounds around that we could have worked with, but they all said, go there. It's known for it. It's had a barbecue festival there. And so I called up the tourism agency there in Ulster County. I said, look, we're thinking of bringing this back. And they were like, when? How can we get you? They were excited. So then the next part of it was to look at the schedule, right? So what helped the Grand Am last year was I think there are 2 other contests in all of the U.S. There was one actually up in Canada that same weekend. And so a lot of our Canadian friends weren't able to come. But I think one was in Idaho and maybe one was New Mexico, something like that. So it didn't really conflict with, if you look at the schedule for KCBS, there are 5, 6, 7, 8 contests any given weekend, And so basically I went to the KCBS calendar and I said, all right, how many contests are there this week? And just looked at the map. And what I came up with, the only kind of empty contest weekend was probably going to be May 1st, 2nd, 3rd. There is a contest down in, I believe, Alabama, and I feel like there's one more like Oregon or somewhere West Coast. So, in talking with KCBS, with Rod Gray and the team there, with our sponsors, we all just kind of said, all right, let's shift it from August to May. And then in talking with the tourism folks, they said, May actually is great because you're going to kick off summer. So
yeah,
when you're in August, you've already had June, July, and like you said, they had the fair the week before the event. You've had all of these things already, and people are, by that part of August, they're starting to get ready for going back to school if they've got kids. Or they're, college age or whatever, or they've, they've already traveled, they've already spent their vacation money, all that kind of stuff. So they said, let's try this in May. And May in New York, it'll either be rainy and 60, or it'll be hot as heck and 92. So you really don't know what you're going to get from year to year. But we've, like you said, it's a really great location. We're really excited this year that we actually have RV sites that we can rent out to the teams. So, if you want, a little enhanced site, you can have that. So I actually have 4 of those left. There are 50 amp sites with sewer and water. And then we've got a few 30 amp sites left. But sites are running out quick. We have 12 spaces left for this year.
Okay, that was my next question, was how many spots you have left, and especially since it's going to be one of the only qualifiers up in the Northeast. And yes, Northeastern Friends New York is in the Northeast, so let's just have that out right now. but it'll be one of the only qualifiers up there in the Northeast. So
yeah.
I think that's going to, for the World Cup, I think that's hopefully going to help to continue to enhance the image and prestige of your event, which I know is something that's important to you.
It is, and we've known each other for a long, long time. I've been doing barbecue events since it's been 10 years now. And I've done over 100 and I counted it up the other day. It's more than 125 contests and festivals and events in the barbecue space, and I've got a lot of great friends in barbecue. I was just talking to a team out of PA this morning, and he was like, man, I miss you. And I was like, man, I miss you too. And we get that, we get that urge to see all of our friends, especially, the winters, further north are just so unbearable sometimes, and you don't get a chance to get out every weekend or every couple of weeks and see your buddies. So, I that's what we live for. And my partner, my business partner, Scott. So he will say, you better name check me. But we love going out, being with the teams, and sharing a beer and a story by the campfire, and we just love all of that stuff. So yeah, it's important to me and also to the community to have something that is really good.
Yeah, I think so too. And yeah, shout out to Scotty. Let's not leave him out in the dark there. He does a lot of hard work.
Yeah, he does all the hard work.
I know that. Are you going to bring back some of the more innovative things that you did to try and get the public involved last year?
Yes, to an extent. So one of the very first things I did when we identified this location was I got in touch with the Rotary Club that put on the event for 15 years. First to say, I don't want to step on your coattails, and I want to do you guys respect. I want to, I want to do what you did, but, bring a little different twist to it. So, we got lots of great ideas and things from them. Last year we had some really cool programs. The coolest one I thought was we did an honorary judging experience. And basically teams turned in 2 boxes when they did turn-ins on Sunday. One was the box that is judged by the KCBS judges, The other was a box that had a big X on the outside of it, and it was just extra meat you put in there. 5 or 6 samples of extra meat that you put in there. Don't have to do anything into it. You don't. The whole idea was to minimize the effort and impact that teams had to do. Basically, hey, here's 5 pieces. There you go, and send it off. So we had a room full of honorary judges that were the public. And we also had really amazing table captains who were KCBS judges. And we counted the 4 or 5 judges that were in there. Their experience was more than 1,200 contests total. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So they were like the best of the best. And the whole idea was at the same time the KCBS judges were judging, the folks from the public were also judging. We had a very simplified, 1 to 5s kind of scale. And then the table captains, they would do the whole thing. They would present it, and, show everything around, close the box, and then they would pass it around. Okay, everyone's got something. All right, now bite into it and tell me what you're thinking. And, if there was extras in the table captain would try it and say, here's what I'm seeing with this. And just so I'm getting hints of this. And if you let it sit in the back of your throat, you'll catch something right there. And so it was a really amazing experience. Everyone that left there, they left with, none of them left hungry because they actually ate all their food in front of
right.
them. They didn't do the one bite. They were just like, oh my God, this rib is so good. Well, you have 4 more. Oh, wow. Okay. So it was just a really great experience. So I wanted to bring that to this year's event, but in talking with the health department in this location, they were like, you could do it, but every team needs to be safe, serve safe, certified. Every team has to fill out this paperwork. There's a $50, registration fee for every team.
Yeah.
And by the time I added it all up, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. And also, teams are not coming there to feed the public. They're coming there to win a world championship. So, that's priority 1. And if the other stuff can happen, great. But what we are going to be doing this year is we're going to be doing a lot more interactive demos. So we've got some teams that are going to, be showcasing, different parts of stuff. Last year, Brad Pissarro with Trucker's Choice, he came and he did a full rib cook. I mean, start to finish. And so the same time that the teams were sending in their competition stuff, he was actually doing a full rib cook. And, there were 40, 50 people just hanging around all that, hour and a half, 2
That's
hours.
Cool.
Yeah. So I want to do more of that. And then we also, something that they did do at Hudson Valley is they actually had bleachers in the judging area. So we're going to rope it off, and I'm going to have some of our judges be out there and be, kind of, thinking of the Olympics, kind of the, here's what the judges are looking at right now, or, just kind of give a little play-by-play sort of information to people who are in the bleachers and want to see what is going on here. And then, of course, we'll have a chance for people to come and meet teams, and for teams to sell swag or spices or rubs or whatever it might be. So, we want to encourage all of that, because at the end of the day, we need more teams, we need more judges, and we need more excitement back in the sport.
Absolutely. Those are all great ideas, man. That's going to be exciting. And the winners of each of the days get to qualify for the Barbecue World Cup. That's another added thing. So that's pretty cool.
Yes.
And I'd be wrong if I didn't put that website up. Make sure if you're a competitor in this that you go there and register first. And if you happen to qualify, you'll save a lot of money. So you want to make sure you do that. Yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited to get to see you and Scott. I'm glad I get to come up to New Paltz. And
absolutely.
I don't think that you'll have those several spots open for much longer. I can't imagine it.
Well, we're at 56 teams now, and so we're going to 72. So, yeah, technically I have 16, but there are a couple of teams who've said, "Hey, I'm gonna be there. Kind of save me a spot." So,
Right.
We've definitely have added on last year's numbers, but the world champion, we've got a payout of $40,000 for Saturday's prize purse. Our world champion is going to get a $10,000 check. Reserve grand is going to be $5,000, and then it's a very nice, generous payout. First place for each meet category is $1,250. So, and then on Sunday, which is our open, that is also a wait. No, yes, Sunday is the open.
That's right.
So Sunday is also a New York State championship. It is the MABA Cup for New York State. So the highest scoring New York team they'll get some money from MABA and a nice trophy. And it's a 50-50 draw for the Jack. I thought it was an auto because there was a contest that canceled, and Brad Leininger, he sent me a note. He was like, it's not an auto. I was like, no, it is. That's the only contest. He was like, think back. When does it start? I was like, August 1st. He was like, yeah. And who won a New York contest on August 2nd? I said, you did. He said, so now I have to come and I have to win day 2. So I get the auto. I said, odds are good. You're pretty good. So, we make a lot of mistakes, but we have a lot of fun while we're doing it. That's what barbecue kind of is. It's bouncing back from when stuff goes a little sideways.
So you out autoed yourself. That's a rarity in barbecue. That's pretty amazing.
I did. I was like, I just screwed myself. Wow, I didn't think that was possible. But yeah, all good. It's going to be a great weekend. And like you said, that location is really cool. New Paltz. There's a couple of craft breweries right in town, right out of town. Like less than half a mile away from the fairgrounds is a winery. So, it's just a gorgeous time of year in New York. The leaves are green. It's, like I said, the weather's going to be weird, probably, knowing New York, but anywhere from 60 to 90. So if you like 60 degrees or 90 degrees, you'll have somewhere in the middle.
You might even have both.
You might, one day to the next. And then, it's just a really cool location. It's convenient, right off the highway, and no bridges. That's
I'm very excited about it. And again, you guys can find more information about that at www.grandambbq.com. But also, I'd be remiss without letting you know that Jeremy and Scott do a bunch of other contests as well. And that's the Campground Barbecue Series that I believe there's 2 in New Jersey, one in Connecticut.
I just added last week another one in Connecticut. Just a last thing. And so I actually dropped a couple of contests for 2026 because we weren't. The biggest issue that we're seeing right now is we don't have enough teams for the number of contests that there are. And so a lot of contests have been really struggling to make qualification numbers. They'll get 20 or 21 teams when you need 25. They'll get 12 teams when you need 15. So, I intentionally dropped 5 contests for 2026 with that purpose of, giving these other contests an opportunity to, get higher volume, basically. And then, things are always in flux. So there was a couple of contests that, got canceled in June, and a team called me up first part of January, and he said, do you realize there are no KCBS contests in all of New England in June? I was like, no, that can't be right. And sure enough, and because I had given 2 up in New Hampshire, and then the one in New York at the brewery got canceled. And I said, "Oh man, that's awful." And so he was like, "What can you do?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Come on, find us something so we have something to do in June." So I worked for like 6 weeks on trying to find a new location, and one was actually going to be like at a fun amusement park where they had like the golf swinging and the go-karts and all that kind of stuff. And then they were like, we want this to be a public thing. I was like, nah, I just need quick and easy. We need just a contest in and out. So one of the teams said, well, why don't you call like one of your campgrounds? And I was like, and then the other thing you have to think is, if it's a brand new event, I need a governor's proclamation. And those, they don't just give them out like candy. So I was just like, where can I go that's easy? And I remembered Connecticut had a blanket proclamation. So I was just like, all right, let me contact Lake Compounce, the amusement park where we do an event in April. And they're like, yeah, we have 20 spots and 5 cabins. I was like, perfect, save them. And, KCBS was very gracious and allowed me to kind of come in last minute and do it. And, again, just to give teams that thing that they need in June, because they were like, I can't go a month without competing because then it rust, right?
Right.
You lose the mojo. And the cool part of it is we'll actually have the park open. So if anyone wants to go ride the rides, they can go ride the rides.
They better check the size of some of these guys before they get on those roller coasters.
Barbecue.
Well, that's all. Yeah, right. That's all exciting, man. Glad that everything's working out and going well. And, again, want some more information about the Grand Am, you can get it at grandambbq.com. And thanks for coming on, Jeremy. It's good catching up with you.
No, you too, man. I've missed seeing you guys, just like I miss seeing everyone. And can't wait to welcome everyone up to New York this May.
Awesome. Going to be great, man. We'll see you guys all out there. Thank you for listening to Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. Be sure to subscribe and like the podcast, rate the podcast, and to share it out with your friends. Also be sure to check out the Old Virginia Smoke TikTok as well. Old Virginia Smoke, one word. That's all you have to search for. It's hilarious. Tune in next week for another great episode of Pitmaster. For companies interested in advertising, please contact Old Virginia Smoke directly via www.oldvirginiasmoke.com. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is edited by Chris Sedanka. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is a property of Old Virginia Smoke, LLC.
Old Virginia Smoke. Old Virginia, Old Virginia Smoke. OVS. Old Virginia, Old Virginia Smoke. Old Virginia, Old Virginia Smoke. OVS.